Okay, hello, this is Chris Bilodeau, and in this quick tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the skin action I created. This is a portrait that was published, and if you can see, this is before, and this is after. So this is how it began, and then after using some Photoshop actions, that is exactly how it ended up. So if you notice here, the skin itself, even though she's younger, there's still some irregularities. You've got this area right here, which is dark. You've got some other irregularities. Now the hair is flying across, which makes it a little bit more challenging for this particular tutorial, but this is exactly what a typical image you might shoot will look like. So what we'll do is we'll start off by looking at the image overall, and what we can do, don't want to do that, look at the skin texture. It's sort of uneven, but you can see that when we soften it, you'll retain all of that texture. So you go up here to this tab, and then you go to Actions, and you should already have loaded the skin action. And then what you do is, for those that are new to Actions, these are all of the steps in this one particular skin softening action that I created. But you don't have to worry about that. What you have to do is select, hit play. And it tells you, I put a box up here that says that you paint over the mask, which is the black box down here, with a white brush, and that's over here. So the black mask, white brush, make sure you select the brush. And then when you're done, if it's too soft, you can adjust the opacity. Now, depending on the image, whether it's RAW or JPEG, and depending on how much softening is required, that will depend on how much opacity you need to adjust. And let's just say you brought in a JPEG image and it wasn't a very large image, then the effect of this action will be very obvious. It may be very plastic looking skin, but then you lower the opacity to bring the texture back. So it works with any image really, and if it works in JPEG and RAW. All right, so what we'll do is we'll select it, and we hit the play button. Oh, sorry, we already did that. And I'll get rid of that, make sure they're on the brush, and then we'll start painting over it. Now you want to make sure that's selected, and then you paint. And it won't be obvious right away because you're painting over the skin and you're smoothing it, but very subtle. And you'll notice after we're done, it'll be a lot more dramatic. So even if this area, if you go over here a couple times, it softens it up a little bit. And again, you can always adjust major irregularities like that in Lightroom using a heal tool. But our goal here is to make the skin soft but real. Major irregularities are expected to be fixed other ways, but then once you get to that point, so you notice that right there, that was a big difference right there. The edge of the nose, it brought the light down, but see how it keeps the texture there? That's the important part. Underneath the eyes, brings the eyes up a little bit. Over here, it's keeping the texture and some irregularities, but softening. It's making it real and professional. So as I go, and you can tell over here, if you look over your layer box, you can see the areas I've painted over. So we'll just do this real quickly to make the tutorial go faster. And then what I'll do is I'll change the size of the brush so I can get over the eyes. Might go a little bit bigger than that. And then it'll go over the eye. And see how you're painting it? And it's that little line right there. So it keeps that stuff a little bit, but it makes it much softer. Okay. It might not look tremendously different, but then when you turn off the layer, you can see the major difference. So there is before and there's after. And when you make some more adjustments later on, you can bring it to more like that. But for the start of the working process of this portrait, the skin is looking fantastic. So you can even double it up if you wanted to. You can double this layer and make it even softer. You can lower the opacity, and you can bring it to where you want to. But for the sake of this tutorial, we'll leave it at 100% opacity. Now, once you're here, you can go back up to the actions, and I moved where it stopped, because this is the stop right here. But you can hit play, and then it says at this point, select the eraser tool and erase over the skin you softened and carefully remove the areas that you want to remain sharp. So when you first run this and stop it and run it again, you don't have to go out of it, but I did that for the sake of the tutorial. So now you look at the whole image and it looks super, super sharp. You don't want that. If you turn off this layer, now if you notice, I created a high pass mask, which made the whole thing super sharp. But we don't want it all super sharp, because then it looks a little bit unnatural in the skin again. See the skin? There you go. So now that you've got to this part, you make sure that you have the eraser selected. You're on this layer, and you can make the eraser a little bit bigger. And I'll go even more than that. And then you erase over the skin you softened. And you can really go into the nook and crannies up here to make it perfect. But for the sake of the tutorial, I don't want to drag it all on. So I'm going to go back over the areas. I'm going to change the brush size, and we're going to erase over the skin I softened, because what I want to do is make sure that I didn't do all that softening in vain. We're going to go over the skin with the eraser, and I'm erasing away the sharpening, but I'm keeping the sharpening on the eyes and the hair and the eyebrows. Alright, so I can do a lot more if I wanted to really make this perfect and go between the hair like I did in the past for this image, but for the sake of this tutorial, you'll notice over on the layers I have erased away the sharpening. So if I remove this layer, look at the hair and the lips and the eyes and the shirt. So now we have an image where the hair, the eyes, the lips, and everything is super sharp, but the skin is really nice and soft with the texture that remains. If we back away and look at it from the beginning, that's how we started. And then with my action, there's the difference. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy using my action, and I'll do some more videos in the future. All right, thanks.